obviously you guys faced this defense last year and they gave you some fits. Have you seen them change in even what they want to do this year because of either more experience and just more knowing what they want to do? Have you seen a difference in them at all?
Yeah, no, they're obviously a great defense, and I got a lot of respect for Coach Williams. He does an excellent job getting everything coordinated. They are very similar from what we've seen in the preseason in the first game. Very aggressive. They got a great front four and backers that can run, and excellent in the secondary. So we know it's a great challenge for us, and one that we're excited to see how we do.
How tough is that to go against that sort of defense for the run game?
It's very difficult. There's a lot of movement. There's a lot of pressures on first and second down, and they do a good job mixing it up on the back end. So anytime that you have a front that has as many moving pieces with the type of players that they do have at those spots, it presents a big challenge for us.
You have some extra blockers that you can use in run protection. Last week we saw a lot of Derek Carrier out there. Are you confident in what he can do and if Tom is available?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I was very impressed with Derek Carrier. For the amount of snaps that he played, for the amount of time that he's been here, he exceeded my expectations. And with what we asked him to do, he did an excellent job last week, and I think we're looking to see if he can build on that performance and do a better job as we move forward.
Sean, when you look at the matchups, O-line, do you see Sheriff handling Donald, and do you see Quinn going with Trent Williams, and who does Brockers line up over?
Well, it's a little bit different than last week where Miami's defensive line played sides. You know Quinn's going to be on our left side going against Trent, and they're going to play Chris Long on their right, and then usually Donald is the 3 technique when they play an over defense. So it kind of depends on how you set the front with where the tight end aligns and how they decide which fronts they want to play and then where Donald aligns. But he'll be lined up against both Brandon and Sean, and Brockers is a very good player that typically plays their shade, but those guys move around inside, so all 3 of our players inside need to expect to go against him.
Sean, with them on the defensive line, it seems like they go at least 6 deep, maybe 7 deep. Is it a little harder to wear them out, ball control, running at them, like maybe you guys were able to do a little bit to Miami because of how deep they are there?
There's no question about it, Chris. They do a great job where they bring in their second-team guys, and they're starting caliber players. They go very deep on the defensive front, and they do a good job rotating those guys in and out, and ideally, you'd like to be able to try and wear guys down and be able to sustain the run game and stay ahead of the chains. But against a front that does have as much depth, it does make it a little bit more difficult.
Sean, I mentioned this to Jay yesterday that last year Deshaun was out. He's going to be out this game, and they seem like they packed 8-9 in the box. How imperative is it for you guys to maybe get Rashad Ross, Chris Thompson, some of your speed guys involved just to keep their defense honest?
Yeah, anytime that you miss a Deshaun Jackson where he does have the ability to stretch the defenses, different than most guys around the league, it presents a little bit more challenges. But I think we've got to do a good job kind of mixing in when we take our shots and keeping them honest. They're an aggressive defense that for the most part, when you play in some of those personnel groupings with 2 backs and a tight end or 2 tight ends and 2 wide receivers, you're going to get some aggressive fronts where they want to play 7- and 8-man fronts. So, we've got to do a good job picking our spots and making them be honest with what they're doing on the back end and hopefully get some plays down the field.
It seemed like in the second half last week, you didn't run the ball as much as you did in the first half, but you utilized some short passes. Is that something that you'll do maybe if they're jamming up against the run and stopping it, something you'll turn to keep the ball moving?
Yeah, I think in the first half we were able to sustain some drives. Really when you look at the second half, I think we did a poor job of taking ourselves out of positions, where we're jumping off sides. We're having self-inflicted wounds that we certainly can't afford to have. But our quick passing game is always going to be priority because I think it's something that we have receivers that can separate quickly on the perimeter. I think Kirk does an excellent job in that. So I think just kind of giving a flow and feel for the game, that's always something that you want it to be a part. How much of a part of it is kind of predicated as you go throughout the course of a game.
Kirk's ability to bounce back from adversity and not internalize those problems has been a big thing that he's been focused on. Did you notice anything different about him on the bench last week after the interceptions as he tried to work his way through those things?
Yeah, Mike, one of those things that he was able to face a little bit of adversity in the Baltimore game, and just like when he had the early pick, that was kind of an unfortunate situation where I didn't really put him in a great spot there. I didn't sense any blink, and it was the same exact thing the other day. He knows those are situations where we got to be smarter with the football and, take it underneath or throw it away and let's punt the ball and get ourselves a fresh set of downs when our defense comes back. But he responded, had some great throws on that next drive when we were able to sustain a long drive and score touchdowns. So I think you are seeing a more resilient guy that handles adversity better for sure. All right, thanks, guys.